Hey everyone, it's Maddie, and welcome to my mid-year book freakout. I know it's been a while since I filmed a video, but life, COVID, we're not even going to go into that. But let's start with this tag that I'm very excited to do this year. So it's the mid-year book freakout. I'm a little late with it, of course, but that's okay. I hope you don't get upset with me. This is just going through books that I have read this year that have really made an impact on me, and the best ones. Now, I am not going to repeat any books, but a lot of these books will fit into multiple prompts. I'm just going to kind of mix it up a little bit to go through more books that I've read with you this year. So the first question is the best book you've read this year, which of course I am going to have to give to Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. I feel like I talk about this book a lot. It's about Alex, who is the son of the President of the United States, and Henry, who is the Prince of England, and they meet, they fall in love, but it has a lot of impact on not only Alex's mother's political life, because his mother is the President of the United States, but Henry hasn't come out to his family yet, and they are unaware that he is gay. It follows them as they get to know each other, fall in love, and figure out these obstacles together. I have read this book about 3 or 4 times this year. I've read the book at least twice physically. I have lots of little annotations in it, but I've also listened to the audiobook frequently driving to and from work. It is so well narrated. The gentleman who narrates it, I'm going to butcher his name, Ramon de Ocampo, I just feel like he really embodies the voice of Alex, where the book is told from Alex's perspective, and it just makes me feel so happy. Definitely a new feel-good read for me going forward. I don't think I will ever tire of this book. I'm very much looking forward to whatever else Casey McQuiston writes. This is her debut novel, and I think she's going to be a just pick up and buy author for me for the foreseeable future. Following best book of the year, the next question is the best sequel you've read this year, and I have to give that to Lord of Shadows by Cassandra Clare. It is the second book in the Dark Artifices trilogy, and it did come out a year or so, 2-3 years ago now, but I just got around to it this year, and this book took me for a ride. It's up, down, I was laughing, I was crying, the end had me shocked. I just remember closing the book and staring at it at the end, and it was fantastic. I love Cassandra Clare's writing, and the sequel blew me away. New release that you have not read yet but want to for this year, and that is again going to another Cassandra Clare book, and that is Chain of Gold. I was so excited for the release of this book. It came out the day before my birthday. I pre-ordered the first edition. I counted down the days. I got my hands on it, and I didn't read it. And I still have not read it. And I couldn't tell you why. It's not because I don't want to read it. I've picked it up multiple times. I've started, and then I put it down, not only because am I just not feeling this Shadowhunter world right now. It's been too long since I've read The Infernal Devices, and this is a continuation of the characters in the Infernal Devices, their families, and I can't remember all the dynamics, so I had to pick up The Infernal Devices, I think, before I continue reading this book, but I am definitely going to do that soon. I have it on my TBR, which is never ending, but I will get there. There's nothing better than a good Shadowhunter Cassandra Clare book, and I just have to make myself do it, because I know I will love it. It's just a matter of sitting down and reading it. The next question is the most anticipated release for the second half of the year, and I am trash. I am Twilight trash, because I cannot wait for Midnight Sun. I know that the Twilight books are not the best books in the world, and they're definitely problematic, and I know so much more now than I did when I first read them, but there's something about Twilight told from Edward's perspective that I'm just dying to read. I've been waiting for this book ever since Stephenie Meyer released a... Go away!
I don't know, I have one right here.
I'm filming. I don't want to see your nipples. There is just something so exciting about reading Twilight from Edward's perspective that I can't wait to pick it up. I've been looking forward to the release of this book since Stephenie Meyer released a couple of chapters on her website, and I was devastated. Teen Maddie was devastated when she said that she was not going to release this book after people leaked it, and I can totally understand her perspective. I don't blame her whatsoever, but I'm so happy that she's decided to release it now because I'm just dying to read it. And again, I am trash. I'm perfectly aware of that. It is already pre-ordered at my local bookstore, and I will be getting it the day it comes out, and that's all I have to say on that. The next question is the biggest disappointment in a book you've had this year, and I hate to say it. I really, truly hate to say it. I have to go with Heartstopper by Alice Oseman. I heard nothing but fantastic things about this book from people on BookTube, from people on Instagram, from some of my other friends who have read it, and I picked it up expecting a very, very sweet coming of age romance between the two main characters, Charlie and Nick, and I was excited for the manga kind of aspect. I was disappointed. I think I built it up in my head too much because I opened the book, and while the drawings are beautiful, I don't pretend I can draw. I cannot draw. I was really disappointed with the fact that they were all in a blue-green tinge. There's no other color in there, and I was lacking with the story. It was very cute, and it was definitely a good representation, I think, of how queer people feel in high school. But I just found it lacking. I wanted more. And that could 100% be because I'm not a big manga person. I don't usually pick them up. I like having the long paragraphs of backstory and learning what everybody's thinking in their heads as things are happening, but I don't think I will be continuing with the series. I'm glad I did read it. Unfortunately, that was a very big disappointment for me. Moving on from biggest disappointment, let's go to my biggest surprise this year, and I'm giving that to All the Stars and Teeth by Adeline Grace. This is about Amora, who has to prove to her people that she can control the soul magic that her family is born into, because she cannot rule her kingdom unless she can control the soul magic. And things happen, and unfortunately she does not control the soul magic, and she ends up going on a quest to prove to her people that she is right to rule them. I picked this up on a recommendation. I was just looking for something really fun to read, and I devoured it. I started with the audiobook before figuring out that I really needed to physically pick up this book, because the character of Amora as a teenage girl is so strong and so important. She has a head on her shoulders, and all she wants to do is help her people and her kingdom. Bumps and issues that occur along the way, I find Adeline Grace did amazing by making Amora very level-headed and completely stop and think things through, and that made it so exciting for me. This is the first book in a duology. I'm looking forward to the second book. I believe that doesn't come out until 2021, but you can bet I will be picking that up the day it comes out. Next question is my favorite new author, and I am behind. I am behind on the times because this is the first time I've ever picked up a Sarah J. Maas book, and wow. How have I never picked up a Sarah J. Maas book before this year? I read the Throne of Glass series this year. I've read Crescent City this year. I just read through all of A Court of Thorns and Roses. Oh my goodness. I I now have a shelf dedicated to Sarah J. Maas, and I had not picked up one of her books before this year, and that is just ridiculous of me. I know some people find her writing style kind of problematic. I personally had no problems with it. I find her a very easy author to read. I am invested in all of her characters. I always call it Crescent City, A House of Earth and Blood. I don't know how to summarize this book without giving away so many spoilers. Bryce is a badass, and I find that with a lot of Sarah J. Maas novels, there's always something underneath. There's always like political intrigue or character development, and none of her characters stay static. I think that is why I like her writing so much. All of her characters, even if they are just kind of a background character, everybody has some kind of character development, and I am huge on character development. So Sarah J. Maas is my new favorite author this year. I'm looking forward to her new Court of Thorns and Roses book, which comes out next year. And I just... yeah. Newest fictional crush. Again, I am behind the times. I'm just catching up. I had a really bad couple years reading, and I'm just catching up on things now. My newest fictional crush is definitely Levi from Fangirl by Rainbow Rowell. He is just such a strong character, and he's so understanding, and he supports the main character Cather in every single portion of this book. He trips and he stumbles, and I get it, everybody does, but he comes back from it, and he makes me happy. He's the boyfriend I wish I could have in high school. He is the boyfriend I wish I could have in high school because he is so supportive and loving, and Levi's in my top 5 fictional people I'd leave my husband for if they were real. Yep, definitely. My favorite new character definitely goes to Selena Sardothian in Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas. Yes, I am slowly turning into Sarah J. Maas trash, and I am not upset about it whatsoever. So Throne of Glass follows Selena as she's taken out of a slave prison camp and brought to the castle to compete to be the king's champion. And she's the most feared assassin, and she's an 18-year-old girl with tons of training and a backstory that she overcomes. And I feel like I don't need to really summarize Throne of Glass too much because it's been out for so long and I'm just so behind. But read it. If you like fantasy and strong kick-ass women, read the Throne of Glass series. A book that made you cry, and that is The Rural Diaries by Hilary Burton. Now, this follows Hilary Burton as she meets her husband, purchases a farm, and her life on the farm they've named Mischief Farm. And Hilary Burton was Peyton in One Tree Hill, which is one of my favorite shows, which is one of the reasons I picked this up. But I now have so much respect for her as a person, not just an actress. And she is political, she's a feminist, she's a hard worker, and reading this book felt like I was sitting with her in my living room, drinking wine and talking about life. And moments of this book were she held nothing back. There were chapters in this book where I was sobbing because I could just feel how upsetting these things were for her as they were happening, because she's talking about her life. And I have to reread this. She shared a lot of her own home recipes for things like dandelion wine or her witch's brew, which I really want to try, or even rhubarb strawberry jam, which sounds fantastic. So I'm definitely recommend this if you enjoy biographies, especially if you enjoy biographies that are very true and hard-hitting. So after that book made me cry, we're going to go on to the book that made me happy, and that is, oh my god, this is another Sarah J. Maas book, guys. Sarah J. Maas trash! Court of Frost and Starlight, which is the 4th book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series, and it's a novella. It's shorter. A lot of people don't like this one, but I really enjoyed it because it shows our characters after all the crap they've been through, and they are really just enjoying a happy Christmas being together. And that made me so happy because they went through so much shit and now they're just together. Even with the issues, they're just all happy to be together. And that, I don't want to say any spoilers because this is the 4th book in a series, but they're just happy to be together, and I love it. I love it so much. It made me happy. I was smiling throughout the entire thing. Second to last question. The prettiest book you bought this year. Now, I am not much for book collecting in the way where I want the prettiest editions or I want the multiple editions, unless you're counting Harry Potter or Pride and Prejudice. I will take any version of those books at any time. But in New York, I got the Barnes & Noble's exclusive Phantom of the Opera. There's gold edges, and there's a little ribbon in here, and it's beautiful. It's hardcover. The spine is fantastic, and it's the prettiest book I bought this year. Last question is a book you need to read by the end of the year, and that is going to Nevernight by J. Kristoff. This has been the top of my TBR for a very long time, and I have not read it yet. I pick it up, and I put it down, and I go, I should read something else, or I'm not ready to commit to this yet. And I have heard nothing but fantastic things about it. I have not heard a single bad review. I mean, I don't go looking for bad reviews, but I haven't heard a single bad review about it, and I can't even really summarize it for you because I haven't read it yet. So that is the book I must read before the end of the year. Thank you for watching, everyone. I hope I get a little more frequent with these videos. I'd love to hear about your mid-year book freakout. If you want to add it to the comments down below or make your own video, link it to me. I love watching them. Been great talking to you. Have a great night.